Stop Asian Hate. You may have heard about this movement through the news, or maybe you've seen it on posts on social media. But what is it and why is it important? Stop Asian Hate is a movement fighting the exponential increase in hate crimes and racism against Asians in the U.S. Hate crimes are violent crimes motivated by prejudice towards a group due to their religion, sexual orientation, or race. Though racism and hate crimes have increased since the beginning of COVID, lack of understanding and respect for the Asian community has always been ingrained in American culture. To get a better idea of the development of this bigotry, let's take a look at history. Although there are earlier accounts of Asian immigration, immigration to the Americas began in the 19th century when Koreans, Japanese, and Chinese came to South America to work on sugar plantations. Most large-scale immigration began when Chinese immigrants arrived on the West Coast during the Gold Rush. Early Asian immigrants were mostly males. Most occupations available were on the railroad or in the restaurant business. In fact, Chinese workers made up 15,000 workers in the building of the Transcontinental Railroad, contribution often ignored by history. Early female Asian immigrants were forced into prostitution or cleaning jobs. This laid the framework for sexualization of Asian American women. Asian Americans were not allowed to vote due to the Naturalization Act of 1790, which claimed that only free white persons could vote. By the late 19th century, many white Americans believed that the Chinese immigrants were stealing jobs and contributing to evil in the country. These incorrect assumptions and accusations led to a large amount of anti-Asian sentiment. The Immigration Act of 1924 further barred Asians from immigrating to the U.S., outlawing the immigration of all Asians until 1965. Following World War II, there was a huge increase in anti-Asian sentiment. Fear of the Japanese, as well as racism, led to the internment of about 120,000 Japanese American citizens. The Japanese internment camps were an unnecessary measure that increased the alienation of Asian Americans. Asian Americans earned the right to vote in 1940 through the Magnuson Act, an act which allowed naturalized Asian Americans to take part in elections. Since the forced prostitution of the first female Asian immigrants, Asian women have endured stereotyping and racism due to sexualization and fetishization. Stereotypes claim that Asian women are docile, submissive, and weak. Other harmful stereotypes include the model minority myth, a belief that Asian Americans are all smart, successful, and well-adjusted. Not only has this stereotype been harmful to Asian Americans by seemingly erasing the Asian American struggle, it harms other minorities by claiming that their lack of equal success is due to laziness or lack of care, when really it's because of systematic racism. Other modern issues include lack of real representation and cultural appropriation. Cultural appropriation is the adoption of one's culture or identity. While this is problematic for many reasons, it's mainly an issue because it shows a lack of respect for the culture's struggle to preserve itself amidst discrimination. Now that we understand how anti-Asian racism has developed, what's happening today? Since the start of coronavirus, anti-Asian sentiments have increased dramatically. Due to harmful terms such as China virus and other accusations, Asian Americans are enduring many forms of racism. Recently, Asian elders in many communities have been violently attacked by unprovoked people. A racially motivated shooting in Atlanta, Georgia killed 8 Asian American women, and multiple businesses have been attacked as results of hate crimes. This year has been one of struggle, fear, and unity for Asian Americans across the country. Stop Asian Hate is the movement calling for fellow Americans to make a change for their Asian countrymen. Anyone and anything can help, whether it be a donation, calling out racism when you see it, or being an ally in other ways. Finding a way to support the Asian community in their time of need is important in uniting the people of our country and fighting bigotry and hate.